what is going on? Welcome back to What Shall We Do Next? I'm Mike, your host, and I hope you guys are having the best day ever. Before I get started, guys, if you are new here, please subscribe if you haven't already done that. We're on the road to 84,000 subscribers, and I would love you to join me on this journey. So hit subscribe and join the fam. And also, guys, go follow me on all my social media. Links are in the description. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even Snapchat, so go follow me on all of those. And as you guys know, I recently started a Facebook account, so you can add me on Facebook, and we can be Facebook friends, so go do that. Link is in the description. And finally, be sure to turn on the notification bell right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified every time I upload a video. Thank you. But once again, I am coming back at you guys with another creepy video, and today we are talking about another scary story. And this scary story is called The Evil Grin. So when I was reading this story, it actually gave me chills. I'm not even kidding. I don't know why. I think it was just because of the way I imagined it. God, I'm so excited to read this. So anyway, the story of The Evil Grin. This is a scary ghost story about a young girl who goes to visit her friend one evening. When she encounters her friend's mother, the strange smile she sees on the woman's face terrifies her. But enough of the jibber jabber, let's get right over to the story. The Evil Grin. When I was 12 years old, I had a best friend named Brenda. After school, we always went to her house to hang out. She lived in a big house on the edge of town. One day, Brenda didn't show up for school. She was absent for the next few days, and I began wondering if there was something wrong with her. After she had missed school for a whole week, I decided to pay her a visit. I cycled all the way across town and arrived at her house just as it was getting dark outside. When I rang the doorbell, I got a shock when the door opened almost immediately. Brenda's mother was standing there in the doorway, but there was something strange about her. Her eyes seemed darker than usual, and her hair was hanging loose around her shoulders. I noticed that she was wearing a bathrobe. The most unsettling thing was the way she was grinning at me. She didn't say a word. She just stood there, staring at me with an evil smile playing across her lips. Is Brenda here? I asked nervously. She beckoned at me to come in, and before I could say anything, she had slipped back into the darkness of the house. As I stepped inside, my eyes strained to see in the darkness, but I wasn't sure where she had gone. Just then, I heard a strange humming sound and followed it into the kitchen. I found her there, standing at the kitchen sink with her back towards me. The moment I entered the kitchen, she stopped humming and there was an eerie silence. I took a seat at the kitchen table and waited. She seemed to be taking forever. I spent the next 5 minutes just sitting there, wondering what was going on. Just then, I realized something very odd. The whole time I had been sitting there, she hadn't moved a muscle. Her back was still towards me and I couldn't see her face. Her hands hung limp by her sides and her head was tilted slightly. Something was very wrong. I stood up nervously and approached her. She remained completely still. Ever so slowly, I moved around her and tried to get a look at her face to see if she was all right. The sight still haunts me to this very day. Her eyes were wide open and she still had that evil grin on her face. I was so freaked out that I couldn't bear to stay in the kitchen a moment longer. Without saying a word, I backed out of the room and made my way towards the front door. I jumped on my bike and began cycling as fast as I could down the long, winding driveway and all the way across town. I didn't stop until I reached the safety of my house. It wasn't until a few days later that I found out why my friend Brenda had been absent from school. My parents told me that there had been a tragic death in Brenda's family. What? I asked. Who died? My parents broke the sad news to me, and it made my hair stand on end, and I was crying from fright. Brenda's mother had died suddenly, and the night I called over to her house, Brenda had been at her grandparents' place, attending the funeral. Years later, when I was 16 years old, I made a little extra money by working as a babysitter on weekends. One evening, a friend of mine called me and said she knew a family who desperately needed a babysitter. She was busy and wanted to know if I was interested in babysitting for them instead. She told me that the parents were very nice, the pay was good, and their 3-year-old daughter was polite and well-behaved. I wasn't doing anything important, so I told her that I would be glad to take the job. That evening, I went to the family's house and met the mother. Her name was Ruth, and she was getting ready to go out for the night with friends. She mentioned that her husband would be out of town on business and gave me some numbers to call if I needed to get in touch with her. The night went very easily. I made dinner for the little girl, gave her a bubble bath, then got her dressed for bed. It was around midnight when I heard the front door open and footsteps coming down the hallway. I thought it was strange because I hadn't even heard a car pull up. Turning around, I was relieved to see Ruth making her way into the living room where I was sitting watching TV. She never said a word to me, and as she walked past me, I was surprised by how different she looked. Something about her eyes had changed, and she was grinning from ear to ear. I felt a cold chill run down my spine. I knew that evil grin. I had seen it before, many years ago. Ruth sat at the table, with her back turned towards me. Her hands hung limp by her sides, and her head was cocked to the left. She was humming to herself. "Ruth?" I asked nervously. "Ruth, are you all right?" No answer. "Ruth, you're not alive anymore, are you?" Silence. With shaking hands, I quickly gathered my things and backed out of the room. When I got to the hallway, I opened the front door and looked outside. There was no car in the driveway. All of a sudden, the eerie silence was broken by the sound of the phone ringing. I didn't want to answer it. I was afraid of what I might hear. For a moment, my hand seemed to hover over the phone. Then I lifted the receiver and put it to my ear. I already knew who it was. It was the police, calling to let me know that Ruth had been involved in a car accident an hour ago. She had been killed on impact. Tears were streaming down my face as I ran upstairs, grabbed Ruth's daughter from her bed, and bundled her up in a blanket. As I came back downstairs, I had to pass the door to the living room. I could still see Ruth sitting at the table, with her back to me. Without pausing for a second, I ran out into the night, carrying the little girl in my arms. And that is the end of that. Holy crap, that gave me chills again! Whoa. This story, man, I don't know why it's so creepy. I think it's the way I'm imagining it. Like, imagine just being sat there in somebody's house and it's all dark and there's no lights on. And all of a sudden there's this person that's just like smiling at you. Ah! Oh, chills! God, man, the tingles. This is worse than ASMR videos. But my question to all of you for question of the day is, what do you think she was seeing here? Do you think she was seeing, like, the spirits of these people? And why do you think that these people that were dead were not communicating with this girl? Like, why were they just, like, smiling? Like, there it is again. Oh my god, the chills. But let me know what you guys think. That is question of the day. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please slap a like on it. Let's see if we can go for 85 billion likes on this video. I would really appreciate that. And if you guys didn't see my previous video, which was a creepy story about this girl and her friends who went to this this abandoned haunted school, and yeah, one of the girls eventually discovers something very, very disturbing indeed. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, then click on the outro right about here. It will take you over to that video. Or if you just want to watch another random video, click this side and it will do that too. But remember the most important thing of all, guys, chase your dreams. I love you all. Don't let anybody bring you down, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another video. Peace out.